Alright, what's up everybody? Look, something's going on with Solana's price right now that I think is giving us roughly 24 to 48 hours to prepare for, so I want to make sure that you are as ready as possible. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. So, looking at the last couple of videos, okay, what we've been talking about at first was this previous structure in which we were in. You guys know I'm big on structural analysis. I think structural analysis is a real representation of the psychology of investors. I say that quite often, quite simply, just because it has provingly worked over time, and that's what we want. We want to use things that work, obviously. So, looking at this structure, what we can see here is that in the last couple of videos, we have been hitting the nail on the head every single time. We talked about the breakout. We talked about the fact that we would be buying after the breakout, but we said that we were going to be very careful about this 199 slash, $200, let's just call it $200 to $195 range right here. We said that this was going to be a hard zone to clear. If we were able to clear it, we would be doing a lot more buying, but we were ready that the rejection to the downside might happen. We said if a rejection to the downside does happen, we could see Solana's price go back to around $176. It came back down to $179.56, so about $3 off of our breakdown target, but still a pretty damn good guess. At the end of the day, that's all we're doing is guessing, but these guesses have worked out. Now that we are, still rather consistently putting in these moves that we should be putting in, I am seeing something play out now, which is interesting. It does happen somewhat often, but it is interesting to say the least. So whenever you're in this microstructure, something that happens every now and then, okay, is that you break out of microstructure to create macrostructure. And what's cool about that is as you create macrostructure, the breakout targets become much bigger. The risk gets bigger, obviously, because the structure is bigger, which means that the pull to the downside could be bigger. But overall, the excitement, the hype, and the potential move from that could get much bigger. And that's what we're seeing right now, okay? So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just quite simply remove all of this and show you what structure we're seeing now. So all I need to do is let's go in, let's keep the Fibonacci's, let's keep these two lines. But what we're going to do is we're now going to take this previous point of resistance and we're going to extend it. Okay, we're going to extend it because now we have two confirmed establishments of resistance. Look, or three actually. Look, we have this one, we have two, we have three. That establishes true resistance. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to take our support level and we're going to move this in a little bit. And what you can see is that we are now really hitting the smack out of this freaking support level. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 establishments of support on this key support level obviously establishes it as true support. And so knowing that we have true resistance and true support, you can see that that structure that we previously were in has now opened up the door for us to have this much more macro structure. Now, looking at the macro structure, if we do just extend these lines out a little bit, you can see that it gives us an apex of about the 31st of March, which again is 24 to 48 hours, just depending on when you're watching this video. And generally speaking, we're going to get a breakout not at the apex, but a little bit before the apex. So this might happen around the time that you're watching this video. So let's talk about now what I'm looking for, what I'm expecting, and how I'm going about preparing for the move that Solana is getting ready to make. So personally speaking, what I am expecting is that Solana's price will break to the upside. Now, the percentage likelihood that it does break to the upside is a little bit reduced than the one from back here. And the reason being is because we did run into true resistance, right? And we hit a strong point of resistance. We know this is that Fibonacci level. This is a prior point of resistance, now a double establishment of resistance. So we have a lot of bearish liquidity here, okay? And knowing that, of course, that puts us in a position in which we might get this break to the downside, which, although unusual for these types of triangles and this type of structure at the top of these moves, not impossible, okay, or impossible, sorry. And so knowing that, obviously, I am going to go ahead and say I think that we have a bit of a higher, like maybe 30 to 35% chance at this point of getting a break to the downside. So let's go ahead and put a guess out there and just say roughly a 60% chance that we get the break to the upside, 40% chance that we go to the downside. I would say it's a little bit less of a chance that we go to the downside, but at the end of the day, I'd rather kind of overestimate than underestimate the downside moves, okay? So knowing this, obviously, what's the plan? What's the move? How are we going about this? Well, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to say if the 60% chance does come true and we see Solana's price break to the upside, I'm going to stick to my guns and not do anything until we're capable of seeing its price break $200. Because my concern right now is that we would see something like this happen. An extension of support, we break to the upside, run back into this resistance level right here, and then capitulate to the downside, giving us a fake out to the upside and a breakout to the downside. I've seen that happen for Solana before. It's not super common, but I've seen it over the last few years a couple times. And so because of that, obviously, there is a concern there. So the way that I counter that concern is quite simply by saying, okay, well, what I want to see Solana do is clear this $200 level. That puts it past that 618 to 786 box, past the $200 psychological level, past the $195 structural level, and then that puts us in a position in which we can really hopefully see that thing run to what I've said before to be $225 to up to $242. Okay, so that's what I'm personally looking for. I want to see that this thing is capable of breaking, let's just say $200, clearing that point of resistance and really looking for that move. That's the point in time in which I would be buying. I won't be buying any time before that. Now, if its price does the 40% option, say if its price does pull to the downside, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start preparing some average cost, or I'm just going to start doing some DCAing once we see Solana's price come back to this $176 to $170 level. I'm rather confident we will see its price come down that low. When we have ascending levels of support, the likelihood of you going back to a previous point of support once you break that line is very high. What that means is in a situation like this, you're going to find your previous point of support. This previous point of liquidity is right here, and that's where I would expect Solana's price to come down to. I am still macro bullish and midterm bullish on Solana, and so in my opinion, I think even if we do pull back here, you know, yes, there's a chance that we put in some structure like this or whatever it may be. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm quite confident in doing some DCAing here, hoping that for the long term we do continue to the upside, because again, my macro perspective is that Solana will hit $500, $600 one day, so I have no issue buying on these dips, especially if we do pull back. You know, that would be a nice little fall of, you know, 10%. I'll happily buy a little bit. It won't be a lot because you guys know I was buying Solana at, you know, $15 and $17 and $25 and stuff like that, and being at 176 now, I don't see the need to really like majorly buy in, but knowing that I still think we can 2 or 3x from here, I don't see a point as to why not still buy some more, and you know, just kind of bask in that glory when we do see Solana hit that $500, $600 mark one day. And so with that in mind, that's kind of the update for today. Yes, I am saying its price can go up or down. If you're new to my channel, you guys know I don't do that big ego bullshit trying to make a bold prediction and not giving the preparation for the invalidation. What I like to say is, look, I think this is going to happen, so here's what I'm doing if that does happen, but just in case I'm wrong, here's how you prepare for the opposite reaction. I think it's important because as a trader, you need to have moves and counter moves. That's all everything is ever about, right? And so being prepared for any outcome puts us in a position in which we can benefit from any outcome, and that's the approach I like to take here on the channel. So to make it short, make it sweet, make it simple, if we do see Solana's price break to the upside, I'm looking to purchase after a push above $200, not doing much purchasing before that because I am concerned that we might get that pull to the downside. If we do get a pull to the downside, what I'm looking for is Solana's price to hit about 176 to 170. At that point, I will start looking to dollar cost average in, building up just a little bit more into that position because I do expect a possible 2 to 3x from there over the long term. So with that in mind, I will of course, as always, keep you updated on the Solana content. All I ask from you is that you do like this video so more people can see it. Subscribe to the channel so that I know that you enjoy my videos, and just tune in for the next one because the next one's going to be the best one. But I appreciate you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.